All right. Hello, Hans. Could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
My name is Hannes Rudolph, and I am the community manager at Roo Code. It started where I was just moderating Discord and Reddit, and then I started getting involved in our GitHub repo in terms of managing issues and bug fixes. And now I work alongside the devs with some bug fixes. They do the dev work, and I supplement it with small bug fixes and stuff that I run across while working with Roo Code on a regular basis.
For those who don't know, what is Roo Code?
Roo Code is an agentic AI coding agent. It allows you to interface with your code base and have the large language model do the work for you. So how I started in this space is I was, copy and pasting from ChatGPT or whatever. And then it was, okay, well, how do I feed it a file and then ask it for some edits and then get the whole file back or get some targeted edits? Then it was like, well, how do I just give it a request and have it do it? And that's where I ended up working in this space. I wanted to not be copy and pasting anymore. So Roo Code is a tool that allows you to interface, connect your code base with a large language model and have it understand it to the point where you can ask questions about your code base or ask it to make changes, ask it to review things, make pull requests, all that sort of thing.
So I've been using AI tools for coding since I think like 3.5, GPT 3.5 came out. I also started with like, hey, here's this thing, and maybe you can help me or document it. I was documenting things a lot. Like I would paste the code file and like just do that over and over again and try to create documentation. And then I picked up Cursor at the very start when Cursor was still like a baby, basically. It was very hard to work with. And I've jumped around a bunch of these tools, and I've stuck with Roocode and Claude Code and Cursor at this point. But a lot of people have been using these tools, and like it's just overload, right? Like there's just so many of them. I would say why I love Roocode and why I'm very interested in it, but I want to also give you the space to what makes Roocode special? What's the differentiator?
The differentiator with Roo Code is first and foremost that we are genuinely community focused. The typical hiring pattern of these startups is one where I think they go, oh, where some person is working, the founder is working on this cool tool, and they go, well, I get investment and I'm going to get more people to do more work, more engineering. And with our team, it was quite a lot different. Our CEO started right away working on hiring a community manager, me, to work with the community, because our tool has been one that the community has driven the development on in terms of contributions, ideas. We're very active on Discord and Reddit and Twitter, and the marketing is great, which quite frankly, I think that if we were just focused on marketing, we would do a way better job. But our focus isn't marketing. That's a byproduct of our focus on the community. So outside of that, if you're asking on what makes Roo Code better, well, that one is a tad more complex, since I think a lot of these tools, a lot of these agentic coding agents depend on how well you embrace the specific workflow. And Roo Code's approach is to allow you to customize your workflow, whereas a lot of these tools will force you to interact with their tool in a very specific way. We do our best to give you options without making it too overwhelming, giving you the option, various large language models to use. We have code indexing, and you can select different providers for embeddings. We have different modes that out of the box, there are a set of modes that you can use, debugging or coding, architecture coding, debugging, and so on. But the really cool part about modes is that you can modify them to get Roo to act how you want it to. Not everybody just tunes into a workflow and goes, change the red button. Maybe they want to ask it questions first. Maybe they want to present it with a detailed plan. Maybe they want its help to make a detailed plan. Maybe they want it to write out a file, a plan to a .md file, and then check those things off one at a time. So there is the customizability, our community customizability, and then our task orchestration, which no other agentic tool, besides ones that fork from us, have the ability to orchestrate the way Roo does. It's not amazingly complex. It's a simple process where you have a parent task that works through, your request, and it does not read files. It does not interact with the terminal. It does not write files. It takes your ask and breaks it down, which you can customize into smaller steps and distributes them to subtasks. So for example, you could say, hey, I want to make X change. And it would jump into architecture mode. It would create a subtask in architecture mode and do the digging, come up with a plan, potentially ask you a few questions, and then return back to the parent task. Then start breaking that down and executing that in subtasks in code mode. And so there we go. Community customization and orchestration.
I have absolutely loved it. So I started with Cursor. I'm also probably what people would have considered like a power user or an abuser of like these plans. I specifically used to go and look for plans that had the word unlimited on them just so that I can spam it all day, every day. Yeah. And I did great with that for a long time. And it seems like that's changing a lot. And one of the things that I found that I really like about Roo Code is the fact that it lets you kind of bring your own key. It also plugs into the GLM plan. There's like a whole bunch of things that you guys have done that are like freedom maximizing in my perspective. And then the orchestrator is genuinely something that is incredible in that I've been able to get it to run for an entire 8-hour period without needing any input. Like it's taken me some time to get to that point, but I have a larger orchestrator model, which would be one that I get from the cloud. I have a local model running on my rig. The orchestrator basically gives the tasks to the local model. And then at the end, I have a reviewer model that is also another one that I pay for, like GPT-5. And this workflow has made like local AI stuff actually usable. I don't have to babysit it. And it's very nice. What's been like the philosophy around this? Because a big question that I had is, how do you guys make money off of this? Are you servicing like plans? Is it just the remote control feature? What are your plans there?
This would go back to where we started as really an effort to make writing tests for a company called Roo.vet, giving their 20 engineers the tool to really modernize code. And this ended up creating this code base that people started, we published the plugin so that the employees could use it, and other people started using it, and it took off on its own, and we've spun it off into its own thing. And so when we started this, it wasn't, let's make a tool to make money. That wasn't it. And so we started as an open source tool, and we intend to stay as an open source tool. And we've struggled with that because we went, well, how do we charge? Because we're not going to charge for the Roo Code plugin. People love it. Our community loves it. We are not the bait and switch people. We believe that you can make money while not killing the golden goose, as it were. You don't have to be a villain to make a living. So we've looked at enterprise support, and that's something that we're working on. And then we've come up with supplementary services. We started with one called Roocode Cloud Pro. Well, Roocode Cloud Free sort of came out under the radar, and it gave people access to simple metrics on their API usage, just a dashboard. And that's free, and we intend to keep it free. Then we added something called remote control, which has the free plan, allows you to view your tasks in real time running in your IDE. You could have several instances open, no problem. You can view them. You can check in on them from your mobile phone, enable notifications, when they're complete or need approval. And then you can run back to your computer and hit the approve button, or, give a response or tell it what your next step is. And then we have since added a pro tier, which gives people access to remote control for $20 a month. They can support Roo Code and get access to actually interact with Roo Code via the website, the cloud website, so they can interact with their IDE. It keeps everything on their computer. We're not running the agent in the cloud. That's not what the pro plan is. And then we have started working on the Teams plan and released it, which gives Teams for $99 unlimited seats, basically unlimited instances or unlimited users for the pro plan. And it allows some organizational controls, such as, inviting users to your organization, enabling or disabling certain models or providers, disabling the out-of-the-box MCP marketplace, adding your own MCPs, adding your own providers that automatically populate on the user's instance, things like that. And we're adding more features to that. We're polishing it and adding more features very, very quickly. Like every day it's changing. And then we are working on a product supplementary on top of those plans, cloud agents, where people can, if you've seen the Roo Code code base, we have this remote agent that reviews all the pull requests. And so we're working on a out-of-the-box, easy-to-use PR reviewer solution to compete with other review platforms. But what's different about ours is it has a wide level of customizability, and you can select different models to use with it. My opinion is that there will be one or two models that probably work the best. Just like in Roo Code, several models, in my opinion, work the best. But if you have the discipline to, you can get your local models. You can get, GLM, different models to work quite well in Roo. You just have to adjust the out-of-the-box workflow sometimes a little, where you see this model has a different behavior. And so, give it different instructions to avoid a pothole. And you can build those instructions into modes or / commands.
You guys have done a really good job at that. And again, I go back to this local thing. So when these changes started happening with Cursor, and then after that with Cloud Code, they basically started shutting them down one by one. I think 2 days ago it was Augment Code. It's just not a sustainable, and then if you dig into the actual economics of these companies, I mean, this is pretty common in the US with the companies just taking a loss constantly to try to gain users, but the economics just don't make sense. So,
and we've had that problem since the beginning. We looked at it and we knew this was the case, and we aren't willing to do a bait and switch. If you don't like us, it's for who we are, not because we tricked you. And if you do like us, it's for who we are, not because we tricked you.
This is something pretty special, because I think we're going to get to a place where it gets more and more and more expensive, and this bring your own key is going to be more and more and more important with a lot of these companies. It's very clear now. A few days ago I was listening to a Theo video, and he was talking about exactly needing orchestrator. He was just saying, I wish I could get this model to do this and this model to do that. I couldn't get his attention. I think it's probably worth talking to him about that, because there is a very clear thing where some models are just clearly better than other models. We talk about GPT-5 is very detail oriented, very slow, very methodical. Claude just likes to shotgun things. It does way too much without you asking for it to.
I was a Claude. I was an Anthropic lover. I one day spent $947 on Opus API usage. I have no problem screaming on the mountaintops about Claude, but Claude 4.5, Sonnet 4.5, it is a cool model, but it just does whatever it feels like sometimes. We have workflows that GPT-5 slowly follows to a T over and over and over. And Sonnet, no problem. Whoop, out the door. It's in the farmer's field. You're like, no, we're on the road over here. And what's crazy is I have workflows that I run that I've been using Sonnet for quite some time, and Sonnet 4.5 doesn't even do those well. And so it's it's better at coding at the expense of agentic. I feel like at following agentic workflows, and so it's better on benchmarks, but the benchmarks don't measure the ability to keep going for 6 hours.
Yeah, yeah, it's been pretty hard. I think something in like August. So I have Claude Desktop. I set it up with all of this like RAG stuff for my way. It's not really it kind of RAG. You can upload documents. It does its own thing in the background. And I had all of these workflows. I made MCPs. Like do this financial report for me. It goes and fetches. It looks at the database. It gets me the report. This was 6 months ago. Spits it out one shot, no mistakes. About 4 months ago, it just stopped working. No matter what I do, like unless I went into a single chat, I paste like a file that basically gives it the step by step. At that point, I should just do it myself. Something they changed something. They did something that broke it. You guys probably have a lot of interesting information about like the different trends that have been happening over the last year. What have you been seeing in terms of the landscape of what developers are saying they like and what's been changing?
That is what's been changing. Well, a year ago, we didn't exist. So that's been changing. About this time last year, I discovered this tool called Klein. Really great coding tool. And we were using it. I was using it. And when I say we, I mean the rest of my current team that I'm part of. At that time, we weren't a team. And I really enjoyed it. It was great. And then I made my first pull request 11 months ago. I think it was November 16th. I made my first pull request ever. And it was to Klein. And it never did get merged. It was the ability to auto-approve tasks, which Klein eventually took on. But it wasn't the PR, which turns out the people at Roocode made the same PR on, actually it was October 16th that I did that, I believe. And their first PR was October 1st, where they made this, I think. The timeline's a little blurry. But anyways, I ended up closing my PR down in favor of theirs. I didn't realize that I was supposed to check for other PRs first. I didn't know that was a thing back then. Now, which is funny, I actually manage that process within Roo Code significantly. And so, anyways, what has changed in the last year? I was new to the space, and 3.7 was like, whoa, this is so cool. Or 3.5 was so cool. And then 3.7 came out and was like, oh my gosh, like things have evolved. And then Gemini 2.5 preview was wild. At some point, it did things with Roo that I had never been able to do before in terms of, sessions with 17 million tokens, things that, no, I think 70 million tokens. Sorry. Like it was some crazy long tasks. And then models started dropping left, right, and center. The like really heavily competent models in the open source space. And we were scrambling trying to keep up with these. And now we've got a bit of an internal workflow to help work with, a new model comes out. How do we support it as quickly as possible? How do we get it out there so people can use it and say, it's doing this, and then we can tweak the Roo behavior accordingly, 5 releases in a day if we have to tweak it. Because quite frankly, when a model like Sonnet comes out and we don't have pre-release access, we don't know its personality. And so part of how Roo works is it adjusts with the personality of the model to provide a better outcome. Because when we tell people, oh, no, sorry, it's the model's fault, they don't seem to believe us. And so we do our best to make it work well. But I mean, we can't always win. I mean, Gemini will still repeat things randomly, just over and over. Probably not random. It's probably very not random at all, just very complex, and it will repeat them over and over. So what has changed in this space in the last year, I think, is that the tools like ours have become common, and agentic coding is a thing now. It isn't just using AI to help you. We actually do our coding with AI. Roo Code is built by AI. If we said what percentage, pretty much 100%. It's that being said, we review every single bit of it. We're getting better and better at prompting and doing workflows, so we can give an input, get the output as close to the finish line as possible, review that output. If it's good, tweak it, ship it. If it's not good, scrap it, adjust our input, wait for the output, do it again. I mean, I will personally do it 4, 5, 6 times on one specific task instead of getting it there and being like, oh, massage, massage, massage. Ugh, throw that away. So my answer is agentic coding is real. It was not a year ago.
Yeah, it was very tough. So I stopped manually coding a little over a year ago. I just completely stopped coding. I've done a few a few months of leak code. I've done I obviously also review a lot of the code. I don't even review all of it, to be honest with you. It depends on what I'm working on. If it's something production, I review every line. But if it's something that's just like here's an experiment or here's a tool.
Yeah, I totally never review it when I make my internal tools. And I make it clear in the docs files for it that this is not a production thing. Like, don't
Yeah.
our code quality. I'm just trying to make a proof of concept.
It's also been incredible for me that I've built a lot of my own tools for allowing the AI to do things, right? It's a little strange because it's like the AI is kind of improving itself, or you're improving the AI via itself. It's a very interesting little rabbit hole that you could think of. What's driving what, basically. But what do you see things like into the future? Because from where I'm standing, the amount of LLMs has increased drastically. The amount of use cases increased drastically. Like, even outside of the coding, I got access to the Claude Research Preview for the Chrome extension. So I can just basically automate a lot of my shopping. And here's my shopping list. Go figure it out. Get me the cheapest stuff. Get it into a basket. Get me to review it. And it works. It does a good job. I also have Claude Code for managing my computer. So building up, managing my memory, kicking things off of my memory, managing my, what are those called? My folders, my directories, getting all the images in the right place. It's been able to do a lot more than just coding. And
why do you use Claude Code for something like that?
Because
instead of Roo Code. I'm not saying you should.
Roo Code has been great for directory, coding directory access. It is leagues beyond everything else, in my opinion. For Claude Code, it's really good at managing my computer. So if I have 500 files in my downloads folder that I want indexed, organized, I want everything renamed from download number, blah, 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 to an actual name, I just set Claude in there and it's go look at every image, look at everything, rename the stuff, put it in the right directories. If a directory for this category doesn't exist, go make it. I don't even have to tell it to do this stuff. I just give it access. All of my financial stuff is on a air gapped computer so that it can't do damage, but I just let it roam on my Mac. I had it basically merge a few NVMe storage drives on my AI rig, and it does that. It does. I have it configure Claude codes for different things because you can use Claude Code Router, so I can have GPT inside Claude Code. I can have the local LLMs inside Claude Code. So I basically make copies of itself.
So what I've done for a similar type behaviors is I've used modes. I use something called Mode Maker. And I have another version I haven't published yet that works well with ChatGPT 5. That one is built with Sonnet principles from their coding guidelines, or their prompting cookbook, or whatever it's called. And I use this to make workflows that I repeat. And then I switch to that mode in a workspace specific for that thing, or just not in a workspace. I switch to that mode and open up that folder in VS Code. And then I tell it to do things just like I would in Claude Code. The only difference is it's quite easy for me to manipulate the mode and the special instructions to be improved as I go. Oh, this didn't work as well as I liked. Do that. And so, I mean, I understand how Claude Code has that sort of rugged terminal use case, but I don't see it doing anything that Roo Code wouldn't be able to do.
I think that's the big thing for me, is that it has to be in an IDE. And if you look at my desktop, I have 6 IDEs at any time. So one is working on each project, and then I manage all of them basically. And what I like about being able to run things in a terminal is that they can kind of crawl faster. Whenever I'm running things in a code, like if you're opening, if I open my downloads directory inside of VS Code, so every subdirectory is going to render inside of VS Code. Example, right? So if I have like 50 different subdirectories under downloads, they're all going to be inside of the VS Code, and it's just like overwhelming. But when I have it in the terminal, it can just navigate. I don't need the details, right? Like I don't need to see what it's doing.
Well, yeah, Claude Code is I suppose becoming an agent, a general purpose agent, which is interesting because I rail against them on the coding front. It frustrates me that they compete with us when we and tools like ours have been recommending and pushing their name and their model like maniacs. And now they're competing with us. We're not trying to be the be-all end-all agent. We're trying to be the best coding agent out there. And I don't even have a problem that they're competing with us in terms of ability. I have a problem that they are giving people access to subsidized compute. And that draws people away from tools like ours, which are helping democratize the space. And they have a closed source tool that, they're pushing because you get a better deal.
Here's something I would say. So if we take Anthropic out of the picture, Claude Code will go into Claude Code's like code base and tell you what it's doing. Like you can get it to basically like reverse engineer itself. And it will do this. It needs like like a specific prodding and like a specific like conversation tree. And I try to see it as something separate from the company behind it, because I disagree with I really disagree with their whole like local LLMs is bad, open source LLMs are bad. Like I don't understand what their like reasonale behind this is, like what their philosophy behind this is. They have a lot of bad practices, but the product that they built, like Claude specifically, as a set of tools, it's a good set of tools. It's a good model, but I don't think that's enough to keep them. So, I saw with GLM, I also like bought 3 months of the GLM subscription. One, because they're open source. I want to support that. I can run it on my machine, like the Air version.
Another one coming out in a week or two, bud.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. That's like a huge event.
4.6 Air. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was saying about them is like, I love that you guys just made it so that I can, or I guess maybe it's not you that made it that way, but what is it called? GLM or like ZAI made it so that I could just put my subscription into Roo Code. That's been very helpful.
We've worked with them. They've actually been very good about working with tools like ours.
Yeah, that happened.
We have a direct line with them, so we have a Slack channel open with them. We work with them before model drops.
Incredible team. I'm very happy that they exist. I wanted to actually ask you about like maybe what have been maybe your top 5 different models that you've worked with, and maybe top 3 if that's too much. Like what do you use them for? Like the different use cases or strengths.
Today I use GPT-5 Medium for most coding and exploration. I bump it to high when I need it, when I'm running into an issue that I repeatedly cannot solve with Medium. I use GPT-5 Minimal for following very basic workflows that I don't bother making programmatic because it's just too much is changing too quickly. And Sonnet 4.5 I use for some of my quick response stuff I'm looking for that's basic. But I really do. Most of my workflows are set and forget. I run up to 10 or 11 instances with work trees at once on Roo Code, or a few different repos I work on. And I'm in the habit of sort of plotting what I want it to do and pressing start and then moving it off the screen and coming back to it later. So I don't use a lot of different models. When I have GPT-5 Medium, it's very slow. I mean, it's arguably, in some of our tests, it takes 7, 8, 9 times longer than Sonnet 4.5 to do a similar thing. But it's, in my experience, its output sometimes marginally better, sometimes the same, almost never, if ever, worse. It is more likely to guarantee an outcome that I'm after. So I would rather I don't need to go fast. I just, press start and I know what I'm going to get. So I'm not really good on that top 3, top 5 models. I could tell you what people are using a GPT-5, Sonnet 4.5, GLM 4.6, Grok, because it's been free. It's a reasonably competent model. It's cheap. It's fast. Gemini 2.5 was a big time leader for a while, and I have a feeling that Gemini 3.0 will be top. Very very much top of the leaderboard in Roo Code. So yeah.
I found GPT-5 to be the most surgical model and the only one capable of refactors. Like if I give it a code base and I'm like, I want you to reduce this by 20%, 30%, it will do it. It just takes way, way too long. But that's
not
okay.
too long if you just kick off 5 tasks.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
And I'm always
running it into the API. It can get pricey.
I have the benefit of unlimited API spend, and I'm almost always working on a mature code base. Well, relatively mature, the Roocode code base. So everything, even a feature or an enhancement, is almost like a refactor.
Yeah.
It needs to take into account all of the problems it may cause when it does something. So that behavior you're talking about where it's surgical, we update Roo Code surgically. Like, we cannot afford for it to go south on you in the middle of your workflow if we push out an update. So we really make surgical, very iterative updates, lots of them. That's why I love it.
We talked a bit about like the features that you currently have in in the lab. I wanted to ask you, like, is there a way to gift people like subscriptions for Roo? I think this would do pretty well. I mean, reasonably, it's a very good project, and it has like a lot of like passion and love around it. That's very unique. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk smack about any, but there are some of these companies that have been like, I don't know, just very strange and not very nice, basically.
They want to make a product for humans, but they don't want to deal with the humans. And that's the interesting thing. The best code on Earth, arguably, could be written by somebody who is focused on code, not humans. So how do you pair the best coding on Earth with humans? You can't just have engineers on your team. You must have people that are capable and willing, and a vision from the top down of seeing people as people, not as piggy banks. Yes, we need to make money. We need to figure this out. But humans are humans. I want to sleep well at night. Yes, I would like financial success as much as the next person. But I think being decent to your fellow human is super important, even when we're in a rat race like this.
Yeah.
So
there's no pressure. I don't think there's any pressure. I mean, I just see this stuff becoming more and more and more popular and more widespread. And then when I talk to people, like a lot of the devs even that are already like huge adopters have not woken up to the fact that this can be applied into anything, right? Like it doesn't need to be like agentic coding. It could be agentic shopping, agentic computer management, agentic, like my Telegram that I use for my work, I don't fucking touch it. I don't want to look at it. I have like a bot. The bot does MCP reads on it. It gives me like a curated list of like, here's this. It's just too overwhelming. There's too many things to keep track of. And I do see a future where we're just like interacting with a box that is finding and generating information for us. No more like, like statically coded, even if it's dynamic, it's still static. Somebody has to code it manually. It takes weeks. I think everything's just going to be here. You want an app, it's right there. A movie is right there in front of you. I don't know, like, do you guys think about like a future where this stuff really does accelerate? And do you think at all about exiting or maybe expanding out of just the dev or the code editor market, basically?
We are doing our best to resist temptations and lose our focus. It's already hard enough to try to focus on our plugin and our supplementary offerings. Now, one thing we did to guarantee that we are going to keep working on the plugin is all of our supplementary offerings rely on the plugin. So if we want to make them better, we have to make the plugin better. We don't want to lose sight of what we're here for, and that is to make Roo Code code better. So I think we're doing our best to resist moving outside of this space.
I have a few questions, like maybe a bit more on the personal side. If you have a problem with that, you can just let me know. How do you feel like this is going to affect like your personal life or your family's life or like even your kids' life in the future? Like the access to this kind of technology and tooling. Do you feel like this is going to make a like big change in the society, or is it just like another tool and people are over yeah, maybe over imaginative about what it can do and where it's going to go.
I don't think too much about that because I'm too busy trying to get this stuff to do what I wanted to do. I do have kids, and one thing that I've noticed is they're learning about this stuff and going, huh, this is neat. I can have it supplement my creativity. So I have an 11-year-old who likes to write, but he doesn't want GPT to do the writing for him. But he uses it to help him refine his ideas or even proofread some stuff. And so he also uses it to ask things like, how many cars would it take to cover all of Canada's landmass? I mean, I guess this is changing how people use things, because you would have previously had to Google that and post it on Quora or something. And so I guess I don't think about it as much as some people. So I'm not that good at answering that question, I think.
No, that makes a lot of sense. For me, I just started seeing like everywhere I go outside, products with like AI images on them, especially like the cheaper products like AI animals. Like it's seeped into the culture in a way that's been very shocking for me and unexpected, basically. Because I just sit on the computer all day. That's been my career. That's been my work. Yeah, it's strange seeing that outside and how it's being applied. So beyond this, like, is there anything that you're excited for? Like, what do you think you have stored in the future for Roo Code? I know you talked about like the different offerings, and I just kind of want to understand what your vision is for like growth and how you're gonna be able to reach more people. Is that even something that you're working on or care about?
Yes, our team is absolutely working on it. We are looking to reach people through providing tools that actually solve problems, not just taking advantage of the space. We see a lot of people that are just trying to do a money grab. We're investing in building the infrastructure within our company to respond to people's needs as AI changes, so that our tool and our offerings can be useful tomorrow. Today, what's useful might not be useful tomorrow. So we need to be able to iterate fast and understand what people want, how they're using these tools. So we're being those people, and we're staying connected with those people through our community to make sure that we can pivot quickly. Because quite frankly, what Roo Code is today could be rendered obsolete by who knows what advancement tomorrow. So we need to keep on top of this. So our plans for the future are to build the right team, to keep building the right team, and just keep our focus always centered on people.
And I think this is the last big question, and I'll let you go. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this. Have you used any of like how much have you or do you actively use different tools or like different harnesses, whether it's like to try to understand what they're building? Because in my opinion, at least like from the category or the subcategory you're in, which would be like Klein and the various tools, like the various extensions that just plug into the VS Code and give you all the options, they all seem like much behind. Like Klein is like the second, like in terms of features. We're not talking about like quality or just pure feature number. I feel like Roocode is the number one, Klein is number two, and then there's a bunch of other ones that I've tried that are way behind in terms of like computer access, vision, all this other stuff that you guys do. One of the best features that you've released for me that I want to pinpoint is power steering mode. Like that has really made a big change for these easily destructible
local models.
Yes,
That is the local model.
it's the only thing that has actually worked to actually get quality code that I could use in production from local, like from GLM 4.5 Air, because it just like drills in, and I can see the difference between read and write. But going back to like, you guys read like, I don't know, like at least 100 times more than you write, compared to like Claude Code, which is maybe like 90-10%. So like 90% tokens in, 10% tokens out. Going back to the question is like, how much have you used these other tools, and like, where do you like, what tools do you see doing something unique outside of Roo Code?
I used to use them a lot more. Now I sort of do surgical jumps into various tools, like I used Cloud Code yesterday, their IDE interface in VS Code for, I think, 6 hours yesterday to understand how they do it, what I like, what I don't like, what to improve on. I really don't think that Cloud Code is interested in actually competing with our space. I think that it is a necessary thing for them to build tools to use their model well. And it pushes us to make sure that our tool works properly with their models. And so, yes, I do. I play with codecs. I've experimented with really a lot of them. I'm quite a tinker at this stuff, but I have to focus often and set it aside. So what I've tested this month, not a lot. What I tested 6 months ago, tons. So we do have people on our team that test various tools. We sort of break it up. People, this person tests this one and gives their insight. We have Slack channels for discussing these types of things to make sure we're not tone deaf to what's happening in our space.
There is the browser. I think it's Zed. I've used it quite a decent amount, like the Zed browser, which has like its own new standard called ACP. It would be great to see something Roo Code related inside of Zed. It's just because it's not VS Code or like whatever the underlying thing that they're all forking is. But anyway, that's just a far-fetched personal tossing a coin in a wishing well, because I love their browser, but it needs more stuff like Roo Code. Anything that you want to share before we end this? And again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. And please reach out if you have any questions, and anybody from the community. I'm pretty available. My username on Discord is HRUDOLPH, H Rudolph. I'm available all the time.
Thank you. I'll add the links in the description, and thank you guys for taking the time to listen.